I mean, there's so much variability out there. Like, I mean, there are people that seem to report that daily injections of whatever ester, typically the longer esters, do them quite fine, and they're walking around with libido and erections and they feel great and they feel strong and they have energy all day. And then there's other guys that will do a daily protocol and all that stuff is good and they don't have side effects and hematocrit doesn't go up, but their dick doesn't work. And so that variability is so crazy, especially if one is looking to get advice from Reddit or somewhere, to do one thing or the other. It's like, you never know. Yeah. You must see what works for you. Yeah. And then just run with that. So, I mean, it's always a topic like in my head, like, okay, in addition to my own experience, because I can't really just use that and discuss it with any degree of confidence or authority. It's like, I'm seeing a lot of guys that are having a problem on long esters. And I think it is because they're injecting too fucking frequently. And if frequent injections will work for them, like they got to be injecting more. I think you've mentioned that to me before. Like maybe you should just inject more if you're doing daily.
Yeah. So of course, with the long esters, you got to remember that the esters are a certain percentage, right, of what you're injecting. Right. So with enantate or cypionate, it's about 72% testosterone, whereas with propionate, it's, I think, 86% off the top of my head. It could be mistaken with a couple percentage. But if you go from, let's say, 175 milligrams testosterone enantate to 175 milligrams testosterone propionate per week, on the protocol, you're injecting 25 milligrams extra testosterone. And that could tip the needle from feeling subpar libido or almost their libido to having like rock hard, solid erections all day long and wanting to fuck everything in sight. So it could be as simple as that. Yeah, that's the goal, right? That's the goal. Yeah. So maybe on enantate or cypionate, you need to run 200, right? You do an injection every day and 2 on Sunday, just for the hell of it. And then on propionate, you do 1 injection per day, but on Sunday you just do 1, right? You don't overdo it. Yeah. So this could be the difference. And of course, everybody metabolizes these esters differently, right? So I always tell people experiment, go with CYP for a while, go with enantate for a while, go with propionate for a while, and whatever works, just stick with that. So if you notice now that daily injections of test prop work, that's your protocol. Why deviate? Why mess it up if it works?
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point the only reason that I would change from this is the post injection pain is it's like I gotta rotate sites, man. I really gotta switch it up because it fucking hurts, dude. And
what is the brand? That's always the question because there's pharmaceutical propionate almost doesn't exist.
Right. I guess not. Right. No, I'm getting it from Defy, so it's like legit Defy, probably from Empower, I imagine. But it's like with UGL, same thing. Compared to this stuff, and it sucks. Like, I mean, I'm sure there's stuff I could do about it. Maybe I could ice it. I don't want to change because it feels so good. My energy, dude, is like I honestly just feel great from the moment I inject in the morning until like 10 p.m. and then I'm like I'm tired. I go to sleep and that's it. So it's hard for me to even think I want to change. But the PIP is definitely sucky.
Yeah, maybe just rotate through brands until you find one that's good, or you dilute it yourself with a little bit of additional, whatever the carrier oil is. You use the same carrier oil to dilute it. Of course, you need to go with USB grade carrier oil and then filter that with a Wattman filter. And the USB grade cottonseed or grapeseed or sesame oil, you can just buy on Amazon. And the Wattman filters, the micron filters, you can buy also. It's a pain in the ass to filter that oil. But you can go from 100 milligrams per milliliter to like 25, and then you just pin 1 milliliter every day.
Right, you're just pinning.
The problem is that the absorption is slower also, so you might not get the same effect.
Right, yeah, fuck, man.
God damn if you do. It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare sometimes. That's why I like long esters, because they're usually pain-free.
Yeah, definitely.
That being said, I just injected testosterone cypionate from Pfizer. I got a couple vials from a friend of mine a year ago and haven't used anything yet. So I injected like, 0.25 or 0.3 milliliters of test SIP. And I got post-injection pain too. And
interesting.
But I've never used this brand. So I might have to go to Bayer Testosterone enantate.
Weird.
Because I never got PIP on that.
That's a weird one. What do people get PIP on enantate? Because I've been hearing that. I was looking into it, and that's a whole nother discussion. How people tend to just do different or better on different esters, even though, I mean, cypionate and enantate are really not that structurally different.
It's pretty much the same.
Yeah, I mean, do people get post-injection pain on enanthate? Have you seen that?
Yeah. Of course, it might not be the enanthate. It might be the oil or too much benzyl benzoate, too much benzyl alcohol, or I know some toxins in there. But yeah, it could be the enanthate itself, right? Some guys, they go on primo enanthate, metenolone enanthate, post-injection pain. And they go on testosterone enanthate, post-injection pain. It's just how your body metabolizes these drugs at the site. Right. And then how they metabolize it systemically for you to get the effect that you want coming from the testosterone. Yeah. So this is why it's so much fun and sometimes a pain in the ass, because you need to go through a couple experiments to see what works for you. Right. So and that's why we have, channels like yours and mine to kind of put our experiments out there so people can make better decisions and kind of, sidetrack, or pierce through the self-experimentation and get to a conclusion faster.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, there's so much variability out there. There are people that seem to report that daily injections of whatever ester, typically the longer esters, do them quite fine, and they're walking around with libido and erections and they feel great and they feel strong and they have energy all day. And importantly, hematocrit doesn't creep past 49 and they generally just feel awesome. And then there's other guys that will do a daily protocol and all that stuff is good and they don't have side effects and hematocrit doesn't go up, but their dick doesn't work. So that variability is so crazy, especially if one is looking to get advice from Reddit or somewhere, to do one thing or the other. It's you never know. Yeah. You must see what works for you. Yeah. And then just run with that. Again, with longer esters, every third day, every fourth day, that's kind of the sweet spot for libido. And it's difficult to tell because you got to time the bloods really, really well. If the testosterone to estrogen ratio is just fucking perfect, at 70% of that duration window, and that's why it's working, or if it's a bolus amount of testosterone at once, and that's triggering via the androgen receptor binding and all that genetic action, the right amount of libido, it's so difficult to tell.
Yeah. So again, and with the blood work, it's just a moment in time, right? I mean, especially if you do 2 injections per week or every 3 days, right? It's a little bit of a hormonal roller coaster. But maybe you need that. Maybe you need a longitudinal pulsatile fashion, just like you release growth hormone and testosterone endogenously in a pulsatile fashion. Yeah. Maybe this is the way to get that done, right? That's why I designed that lazy man's TRT protocol, where you just inject your entire week's worth. Yeah, on Thursday, because most people in the fitness industry, we have a cheat meal over the weekend. So that kind of carries you over for a couple of days, energy wise, libido wise. Yeah. And then by Wednesday, you have 2 or 3 workouts in, you feel a little bit tired, lethargic. You've been eating healthy and clean, right? Maybe a little bit low fat. And then you need a little bit of a boost, a pick me up. Yeah. The entire fucking dose of testosterone then and there. Yeah. And a lot of guys respond. Yeah. A lot of guys respond very well to that. And I've always done this in the, in a cruising phase or a TRT phase where I just do 1 shot a week because I'm lazy, and it worked. Definitely. And then by Wednesday comes around and my libido is increased because my estrogen went up a little bit. Right. And then, so I have good libido going into the weekend, and then the cheat meal carries me over until Wednesday. And then Wednesday is a little bit of a, but 1 day a week to feel, it's okay. I just had a great weekend full with food and full with sex. So.
Yeah, man, that's epic. That sounds like a great protocol, for the right person. That's what I mean. If I injected once weekly, I have tried that before. I get, on days 2 and 3, a bit of fatigue, and it's difficult for me to determine whether or not that is estradiol related or whether or not it's tanking my iron. Have you heard of that? And what do you think? Cause that's somewhat common. Okay, let me just backtrack. Maybe 10 to 15% of the anecdotals I'm seeing when 1 bolus injection per week are getting some sort of fatigue. What do you think that is?
I'm not sure.
It's a hard one, right?
I'm not sure. Well, what is that? Is that the testosterone? Of course. I mean, most esters peak within the first 2 days, right? Whether that's enanthate, propionate, even though the decanoate esters, it kind of peaks within 2 days and then slowly tapers. But each ester tapers a little bit faster or slower compared to the other ones. Yep. Testosterone increases sensitivity to caffeine in some individuals. Yep. So maybe when serum concentrations are tapering, your sensitivity to caffeine is diminished, And that's why you feel less energetic. The adenosine levels are increasing and keeping you lethargic.
It's something pronounced. Like I remember after running, I was running 210 milligrams a week, and I think that was like 30 milligrams a day. And again, that wasn't particularly great for libido and incredible for energy. I'm like, you know what? Let me just inject this bolus at once. Let me give it a couple days. Let this filter out. This was like 2.5 years ago or 2 years ago. I injected the entire 200 milligrams at once, or 210 intramuscularly, like right in my fucking quad, big needle, the whole nine, like old school TRT. And like
the harpoon size.
Totally, bro. The thing was like, and
Pulp
so
Fiction.
days 2 and 3, and maybe even a bit of day 4, I felt this like profound fucking fatigue, dude. Like it was something very pronounced, right? And I wish at the time, because I'd never gone back to just one bolus injection a week. I wish at the time I had run iron or ferritin, like because we know that this stuff is involved, and TRT has a large interplay with these chemicals. Did I tank iron a little bit? Did ferritin drop below range and then come back up? Like what the hell was it?
Honestly, I don't think so, because serum iron is, of course, the free iron, but it could be contained within ferritin. And serum levels are usually an accurate representation of what's contained in the rest of the body, right, within the cells. But hemoglobin also contains iron. And red blood cells are constantly destroyed because they're old, right? Metabolized, and then the hemoglobin spills into the bloodstream. It gets metabolized in the liver, produces bilirubin, and it releases the iron, which then gets stored in ferritin. So serum iron levels, everything that I've seen, they don't fluctuate so much. It takes a while to get them down, and it takes a while to get them up.
You've mentioned a lot about like inflammatory responses from carrier oils.
Yeah, that could be the case. Maybe it's an allergic reaction where you shoot an entire milliliter, and maybe you have an adverse reaction, and thus you feel lethargic or sleepy or a little bit inflamed. I mean, it could be all of the above.